welcome back to another yoga video with me, Lindsay. I am going to be your yoga guide for the next practice. Today we're going to do something very simple. We're working on the basics. We're focusing on foundation. We're going to stretch out the low back while building up strength with the core, because we can stretch all we want, but if we're not building out strength, then we can overstretch and it leads to problems. And let's find some balance together here, shall we? We have the option of having blocks handy, a pillow handy, and a blanket handy. We could use all three, we could use none, totally up to you. I'll provide modifications as needed, and let's get started. So if you haven't already, find yourself on your lovely yoga mat, wherever that might be for you today. We're going to start on all fours, and I am going to use a blanket to pad my knees. So making your way onto your mat, coming onto your hands and knees. We're going to bring our awareness to the palms of our hands as well as the tops of our shins. So really taking some time to intentionally place how your hands are pressing into the mat here. And the reason I want to put a little bit of focus on this today is so we take out any unnecessary pressure on our wrists. There are so many little tiny teeny bones within the wrists and all that is going on here that I want us to establish a practice that is long lasting and sustainable. So with that said, we're going to ever so gently bring our palms directly underneath our shoulders and allow the fingertips to point towards the corners of either mat. So your palm or your index finger and your thumb are going to sort of look like the shape of a J or an L, depending on which hand you're looking at. And then you're gonna bend your elbows ever so slightly, press into all four corners of your palm, and turn your elbows to face the front edge of your mat. So you're starting to gently feel pressing away by the shoulder blades moving away from one another. And then the crown of your head is going to extend forward, so much so that if you wanted to place a teacup on the back of the neck, you could. Gaze is gently down. And then we're going to follow that line of energy from the crown of the head all the way through the back body. So with the shoulder blades pressing away from one another, the belly button is going to lift up ever so slightly. And the low back is going to be in a neutral position. Starting to feel the core engage, pressing into the palms will simultaneously press down into the top of either shin bone. Knees are directly underneath both hips. And from here, now that we've created a solid foundation, I want us to move between cat-cow and encourage that movement to be facilitated within the mid-body. So on an inhale, gently lowering the belly button to the floor, finding a gentle curve along the low back, and then you're going to pull your palms in towards your knees, but your palms are not going to move anywhere. So this just opens up the heart just a bit, and the gaze is going to be out in front of you. So take a deep breath in, feeling the opening, and then exhale, using the strength of your core, pressing away from the mat. Let your head relax between your shoulder blades, feeling that awesome stretch along the upper back, relaxing the low back, belly button in and up, cat pose. And then inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze forward. And exhale, pressing down and away. So just alternating between those two movements and being extremely mindful of what you're feeling and where you're your breath here. And maintaining that awareness in the palms. So notice if you're shifting your weight only into the knife edge of either hand, and try to distribute it evenly between all 4 corners of the palm. If you need to, you're more than welcome to make fists and come up onto your fists if your wrists are talking to you a bit. And then find 3 more cycles of breath here. Just starting to wake up the spine, checking in with the low back, checking in with the upper torso. Beautiful. And when you feel balanced, we're gonna walk our knees out to the corners of our mat. Bring our toes to touch one another, and we're gonna sink our hips back here, coming into a child's pose. So walk the fingertips forward. If it's comfortable, you can allow your head to relax onto the mat, or bring one of the blocks and bring the floor up to you. So really allowing your hips to sink into your heels, feeling that awesome stretch along the low back, and just breathing into the sensations. Perhaps rocking the forehead from one side to the other, massaging out the frontal lobe, relaxing any tension you may be holding in your jaw. So we take a deep breath in, and full breath out, let something go. You are awesome for taking some time out of your day to connect with your body and find some gentle movement. Incredibly hard thing to do in a world that constantly is asking us to go, go, go. So when you're ready, and when it feels good, slowly come up. We're gonna walk our palms in towards our chest and come to seat on our heels. Maybe walk the knees together if it feels good. Really just find a comfortable seat. So whether that's sitting on your shins or finding a cross-legged seat, you know your body better than I do. Just taking a moment to reacclimate to being right side up. Beautiful. And we're gonna come forward. If you had a blanket underneath your knees, let's move that to the side real quick. And I want us to find our blocks. If you have blocks handy, you can use a book, water bottle, whatever is most beneficial for you in the moment. And I want us to have them right at the top of our mat. We're slowly gonna make our way up to a standing. Coming into our mountain pose. So once again, building from the bottom up. Feet directly underneath the hips. Lift the kneecaps up, engaging the thighs by spinning the thighs in towards one another. If you have been dealing with some low back stuff, perhaps try holding a block in between your thighs. This helps stabilize all of the muscles in the low back. So when you squeeze the block in towards one another, it hugs the hips together and releases a little bit of pressure in your lower vertebra. Roll your shoulders up towards your ears and then down your back while extending your fingertips towards the sky, towards the floor. Take a deep breath in, full breath out. Feel your energy grounding. And then we'll inhale, reach up towards the sky now. And then we'll exhale, dive, hinging from the hips. You have your block between your legs, gently move it out. And we're gonna fold all the way forward. So again, being very mindful with the low back here, keeping the knees bent as much as you need, and allowing the blocks to bring the floor up to you. So just taking a moment to shake the head out. Maybe nodding your head yes, maybe shaking your head no, allowing anything that's been weighing heavy on your mind or heavy on your shoulders to simply just melt off the top of your head. Allowing the weight of the world to go. And only becoming aware of your breath. Deep breath in. Full breath out. If it feels good, maybe sway from one side to the other as you bend one knee and straighten the other. Whew. Really feeling what's going on in the backs of those legs here. This motion mimics walking and our stride in walking. So your hip kind of juts up with the leg that's straightened and then relaxes down with the one that's bent. So just notice what you're feeling. I don't know about y'all, but I can surely feel this in both of the legs. So just being gentle with yourself. Taking another deep breath in, balancing it out from one side to the other. I'll bend both knees evenly. Inhale, slowly find a flat back here. And again, being very mindful of the low back. Engaging the core to help strengthen it. And then exhale, bend your knees, gather all of your energy, and inhale, rise on the breath. Exhale, bring your hands down in front of heart center. We're going to pause here for a moment. Just take a second to notice and feel. Allow that rush of energy to flow from the top of your head back down into your feet. Feeling stable and secure. Inhale, reach the hands down to come up. Exhale, dive forward. Find your blocks or find the floor as we step one foot back. Lower that knee down, untuck the back toes, coming into a low lunge here. Now we'll find our blocks. So the front knee is stacked over that front ankle, creating a 90-degree angle. And just taking a second here to check in with the hips, check in with that low back again. Maintaining an awareness with the center of the body. Notice if your one hip is hiked up, try to get the hips square with one another. And on an inhale, we're going to bring our palms to our front knee and slowly rise up. Oh, another thing, if you would like to place a blanket underneath the back knee that's planted on the earth, definitely feel free to do what makes you feel the most comfortable. Depends on how thick your mat is, what floor you're practicing on, all that good stuff, but you do you. I trust you. Oh, I'm gonna fall. Bring your hands to your hips here, and this is a nice moment for us to just check in if we are hiking up one hip more than the other, and try to relax the hips. So that way we can sink forward and get a nice stretch along the back hip flexor. Now to protect the low back, while we're stretching out that front hip flexor, we're going to engage the core to release any tension that may be held in the lower lumbar. If this feels secure for you, let's inhale, hands up towards the sky, maybe gently find a slight back bend here. Inhale, looking up. And then exhale, lower your palms, finding your blocks or the floor. We're going to shift our hips back, scoot that foot forward, the front foot forward, front heel, coming into our half split. So now we're releasing the low back a little bit more, and we're also getting a nice stretch into the back of that front leg. And this is a really awesome time to use props if we have any, or get creative, you know, you can MacGyver it, use some books. I'm trying to think of what other things are good to use as props. Chairs, really like using chairs as props, but just allowing yourself the space to get into a pose that feels right for your body. This is not about making your body look a certain way or into a certain shape. This really is about breathing into what you're feeling and getting to the point where you are capable of breathing into what you're feeling. If you're in so much pain that you're holding your breath, let's ease out of it a little bit. That's totally fine. But just get into that sense of, okay, I can do this. That's what we're going for. So take a deep breath in, and then exhale, rebend into that front knee. Place your blocks off to the side, tuck the back toes under, lift up with that back leg, step your right foot to meet your left, or whatever foot you had in front. Lower your knees down, come all the way down to your belly. Pause here for a moment, press your hips into the earth. Inhale, low cobra, strengthening the lower back, pressing the tops of your feet into the mat here, shoulder blades hugging towards one another. Exhale, lower down. Beautiful. We'll inhale, come up onto all fours, sink the hips back, child's pose. Deep breath in, full breath out. Awesome work. Inhale, slowly rise. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up. We're coming into our first downward dog here, and this is just a quick one for a moment of transition. But if it feels really lovely, you can hang out here for a little while. But if not, we're gonna step the opposite foot up and use your hand if you need some help getting it there. Once again, finding your blocks to create a little bit more space as we lower that back leg down, untuck the back toes, and finding our low lunge on the opposite side. So allowing us a moment to check in with the body, notice how this feels versus the other side. And then reconnecting to the core, reestablishing that foundation that we created in the beginning here. Rock front to back, if that feels good. Oof. Notice if you have any pops and cracks. I know I do. And then on your next inhale, bring your palms to the top of your thigh, your front thigh. So again, you can cushion the back leg if needed. We're gonna get a nice stretch into that front hip flexor. So we hug that bent leg hip, left leg hip, sorry, I didn't establish right and left. So whatever leg you have bent, that hip's gonna come back. The other hip's gonna press forward as we work to get it to be parallel to that front of our mat. Core is engaged, relax the lower back down. Inhale, hands up above the head. And then exhale, lower your hands back down to your blocks. Scooch that front foot forward, getting into our half splits here. Front heels pressing into the mat. Oof, I can feel this in my low back. And just allowing yourself to find that edge here today, whether it's up on your fingertips on your blocks or all the way down on your mat. Whatever's clever, what works for you is what we're going for. So breathing into the back of this front leg. Relaxing any tension you may be holding in your face. Beautiful. Exhale, then we'll rebend into that front knee. Walk the blocks off to the side. foot, press your back knee up, step the front foot back to meet the back one, lower your knees, your chest, your chin coming onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, pressing up through all fours and then back into a child's pose. Walking your fingertips forward, relaxing your head into your mat, and breathing into the low back. And walk your palms over to the right of your mat, feeling a nice stretch along the left side body. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, walking your hands over to the left side, feeling a nice stretch in the right side of your body. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, coming back up to center. We'll rise on our breath. Walk the knees forward. Cross the ankles, come through onto your bum. Perhaps finding your pillow as we meet in a cross-legged position. Finding a comfortable seat, bringing the palms to the tops of the knees or thighs. Lifting the torso off of the lower body, extending the crown of your head up towards the sky, creating space along the back of the neck, and allow your eyes to gently fall closed. Just take a moment to reconnect with your breath. Bring your attention inwards. Taking a moment to notice and feel the effects that our movements had this morning, whatever time of day you may be watching this video. And just honoring yourself for carving out this time. On our next inhale, we'll bring our hands together to meet one another in the heart center. As we bow our heads to meet our hearts in this gesture of union, as we seek to bind, to braid, or to blend the head, the hand, and the heart. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me, for watching this video with me. I would love to know what felt good. I would love to know how it went for you. And I'd love to know if there are any particular videos you'd like to see in the future. It would mean a lot to hear from you, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much. Take good care.